First of all, thanks for the lovely introduction, and I welcome each one of you. The energy in this room is already over the roof, and I think I need to match up with your energy, guys, to make the next 60 minutes most mindful. Uh, if I have to introduce myself to the people who are new, I would just like to say that I'm just a book lover, and today we will be deep diving into the masterpiece Atomic Habits. So, without further delay, let's deep dive into the Atomic Habits by the James Clear. All right, so give me a moment to start sharing the screen and let me know once you can see the screen. Okay, so as most of you I know are the avid and voracious reader, I will try to make it as interesting as possible from my end. And I'm really overwhelmed and grateful to have the lovely audience of the 50 plus who are already equipped and ready with their pens and the color paper, and let's make it next level. Let's revise our NRTC principle one more time. So N stands for the notes, R stands for the realizations we get when we are reading or listening to the book, T stands for our transformation script, and C is for the journey. So, once again, I have a deepest gratitude for giving me this opportunity to churn this book with the lovely audience today. So, thanks for the same and keep the same energy till the end of this session and share your notes with me. And definitely, you will be in for the surprise, whosoever is creative note taker. Okay. So with that, let's get started in the introduction. This book's introduction starts with its title, and the title has a very simple meaning. Word atomic is taken from atom, which is the smallest particle. So atomic meaning single irreducible unit of a larger system, which means it's a tiny thing. So tiny is the meaning of atomic over here, and habit, a routine or a practice performed regularly, an automatic response to a specific situation. So, this book is going to talk about tiny habits, remarkable changes. So, we are going to look into how the very small habits which we tend to ignore are going to change our life. So, let's come to who's the author. He's James Clear, relatively a very young author of this book. But I always feel like if the spelling of James would have been Gems, he's nothing less than a diamond. And Cleo's surname suits him the most because of the clarity of thought he has got. So, one of the inspirational author already. So, James Clear has written this book in the May 2018. So, it's relatively a very new book. And in the last 6 years, it has impacted millions of lives. You might have heard the references of this book in the multiple seminars and multiple keynotes where the speakers are always talking about him and the atomic habits. So the book begins with his own story where he is in his upper secondary years, and at the end of the semester they are playing some baseball match, and one of his classmates hits the spectacular shot with a massive velocity, and he loses the control over the bat, and the bat hits James head, and then his face gets distorted, his nose is distorted, the facial tissues are broken, and he collapses on the ground, and then he is taken to the hospital. Then from there, he's airlifted to the to the facility which has the neurological care unit, and all those things happen to him. And on the preliminary examination, he seems to be disillusioned when asked about who's the president. When it was George Bush, he says it's Bill Clinton. When he is been asked with who's his mother, that also takes him a lot of time to reflect back to, and basically, looking at that, the gravity of the incident seems to be real big. He goes through a lot of concussions, and then he has to also face a coma phase. Then he comes out of that phase. And then it's about a recovery where his facial tissues are recovering, his brain is recovering, his neural pathways and everything is recovering from what has happened to him in that moment. It's a 1 year of a self doubt and struggle for him just to stand on that ground again and just to see that normalcy of a life returning back. And in spite of such a big thing happening, anyone could have been broken, but what he achieves is remarkable. At the end of his university career, he's a top male athlete. ESPN came and honored him with one of the biggest and the prestigious award. He wins the President Medals Award, which is given for the excellence in the sport plus the excellence in the academics. The one who scores all A plus and one who is a top athlete in that particular university gets that. So he gets that reward from the university as well. And when he reflects back what has happened with him and still what he has achieved, how he could do that, that time he realizes that all the difference was made by the choices and the actions he has taken. So what he has done is, in spite of playing the video games and making himself call a night owl, he sets his sleep routine early age and he gets into the habit of getting early and making the best use of those creative hours. Strength training over the enjoyment is preferred by him. And because he is living in the dorm where he do not have much of the control over the life, what is happening to him, he tries to get the sense of control by tidying his dorm and doing the small, small things. Now, because of all these things, what happened with him is he ended up writing this book, and that's another interesting story where he had an habit of taking the notes. And once he completed his graduation, what he did is he started with a jamesclear.com and he chose 2 days out of a week. And on those 2 days, he started posting the articles on his website. Over the period of 3 years, there was a lot of growth in the number of newsletter subscribers. Owing to that, Penguin Publishing House came and approached him for writing this book, and that's how he got an advance to write this book. And next 3 years, he did a lot of research, consolidated everything, and came up with a massive framework for habit building, which nobody has given before. Okay. Now he says that how this book is going to benefit readers, and there he quotes one of the quote from my favorite person, Nawal Ravikant, and he says that as Nawal Ravikant says, to write a book, you must first become a book. He has lived that journey, and he's writing about his own journey and the outcome of that journey, and that's the reason he's the best person to narrate this book in the form he has done that. And the best part of this book is it's a step by step plan for building a better habits for the lifetime, which we often fail. We start and then we fail. So he's giving a model where we can continue for a long run and we can really build a super habits. Okay. Now, that is the introduction. And if you find this introduction gripping, let's deep dive into the second section of the book, which is going to talk about the fundamentals. Why are we emphasizing so much on the tiny habits? Why we say that it is going to make a big difference by the tiny habits? We need to start with the why. Simon Sinek fans over here, start with the why is extremely important. So he gives that why story through the British Cycling Club example, where the British Cycling Club is kind of an underdog, even if they go for gears purchase to a different stores tries to tell them that please don't buy, because if you have been seen wearing our gears, then maybe our sales will go down, and that kind of reputation they have got. And that is because in the initial time, the initial 110 years of the Tour de France history, they have never won any single title. And in the 100 years of the Olympic, when the cycling might have started, they ended up only winning one single medal. And what changed for them after the David Brailsford joined, a person who believes in the strategy of the aggregation of a marginal gains. Now, what he has done is he break down everything about the cycling and try to bring the 1% improvement in every single area. So, okay, what it is, if it is a cycling, it is about a cycling shorts. Let's have a thermodynamic shorts. It's about the cyclist mental health. Let's have a good night's sleep routine. It's going to be about bike performance. Let's have a very clean, dust-free bikes. If it is about the position of the cyclist, let's fix the cycling sitting position. If it is about the friction with the road, let's rub the alcohol on the cycles. And hundred such small improvements, and you will be astonished by the results they have achieved. That after taking around 3 to 5 years of effort, when next time the Olympic Games came, they actually got 60% of the gold medals in the 2008 Olympics. And not just that, they ended up setting the 9 Olympic records and the 7 world record. And eventually, they became a first Brit who won the Tour de France, and in the next 6 year span, 5 times winning that most prestigious title. It was one of the cyclists, then the another friend of him, and then they continued the streak of winning. And it all became possible because of this theory, which focused on the tiny changes in the most overlooked areas of a life. And cumulatively, the aggregation of all such changes resulted in a such an extraordinary results. The ordinary athletes got transformed into the world champions who won 66 Olympic and Paralympic gold medals. So that's the impact of the tiny habits, and that's why we are investing our most prestigious time to understand what this framework is and how we are going to implement it in our own life. Now, he talks about it like why small habits make a big difference. A 1% better every day, small improvements, what we seek actually leads to a exponential growth. And I guess you all will be able to relate with me if I'll say that if even if you are broke and if you build a habit of saving even 100 rupees or a $1 each day, you will become millionaire over the period of a 10 or 12 or 15 years based on the rate of compounding and all those things you already know. And if it is going to be like a person who has got lot of wealth as such, we have always seen those examples of KBC and winning 50 lakhs and then they are going bankrupt. It is because of the habit of spending extra $1 makes you bankrupt also in no time. And he's talking about it's more about your habit, your quality of life will be driven by the quality of your habit. And he's talking about the habits also compound, and they compound positively also. Like knowledge, you take one session, you take nobody will call you genius, but if you ended up taking 100 such sessions, end of the 100 session, you will be definitely called genius because the depth of the knowledge will make you so. Relationships, if you will exchange a very nice gestures with your partner, over the period of time, there will be a better acceptance for each other and the relationship will compound. Similar thing with the productivity. Start having the to-do list. Today you might be only taking off 3 or 4. Tomorrow you might take off 5 or 6, and this way, if you will keep going and going, one fine day you will be the super employee or the super person who can be who can work real productively. And he wants us that it also works in a negative direction. So if when we stay in the stress for a longer duration, stress compounds, negative thoughts compound. Any mass event happening around us, we try to the outrage or the emotions which we let let them happen, those also compound in a negative way. So always be conscious about what you are attracting in life and what you are compounding in the life. Now he sees that habits are double-edged swords. Good habits are going to build you, and the bad habits are going to cut you down. Uh, for progress, he has initially given 1 or 2 very nice stories. I'll just narrate the bamboo shoot story in which a farmer, once he plants a bamboo, for next 4 to 5 years he don't even see a sprout on the ground, but when bamboo grows, in a matter of 20, 30 days, you will see the bamboo growing exponentially. And it happens, same thing is the case with the habits. And he tries to say this very impactfully by giving this example, where he says that the plateau of the latent potential, which we ignore, is of the most importance. What happens in this case is, if we plot a time on an x-axis and results on a y-axis, it is human tendency to expect the growth, even if it is not reaching the sky, at least this linear curve we are expecting. But habits has this habit of forming a curve where initially the habits takes its own sweet time and then they slowly start picking up. And the moment it reaches this point, the person is called as overnight success. But what happens in most of the cases is people try to leave that habit in this zone somewhere, that the things doesn't work, and those are the people who live in the valley of disappointment for their lifetime. And you will be seeing a lot of such people around you who will be telling you the things doesn't work out, and this doesn't work out really for everyone. Those are the one who have not reached this point. Before this point, whosoever has given up, they will be always staying in the valley of disappointment. So this is one of the very important phenomenon, or the principle he would like us to understand in depth. And he always says that people make few small changes, fail to see a tangible result, and then they stop. That's where the real problem lies. Now, that's where it is very hard to build habits as well. Now he comes to the answer. Like, if you really would like to build the long lasting lifetime habits, then he says that answer is we first need to forget about the goals and focus on system instead. And first time when I heard it, it is like, what? Forget goals. We are the goal driven. We brain is goal driven. We always talk about this goal, that goal, deadlines, and he is asking forget about goals. And then he made these 4 points really clear, which made me think about it, that he, what he's talking is very true, even in the corporate context. So he says that the first problem is winners and losers have the same goals. Think of any cricket match. Everyone lands in the game thinking that they are going to win. At the same time, result only comes in a one's account. So the losers also have a same goal, and it's a valid point that goals doesn't work for everyone, even if they have given the 100%. The second thing is achieving a goal is only a momentary change. The classic example of this is there is a marriage function in a family, and I would like to get in shape. So the moment the marriage function is over, we fall back to our normal routine, normal eating habits, and again the weight comes back. So that's what he's trying to say through the second point. And the third thing is goal restrict your happiness. Till the time you achieve that goal, you are continuously restricting yourself from doing what makes you happy. The fourth point is goals are at the odds of a long term progress. Now, this is a big point where he's trying to suggest whenever the long term thinking is involved, goals are not much relevant. The long term thinking is a goal less thinking. Long term thinking is more towards building your identity. So he says that the purpose of setting goal is to win the game, where the purpose of building the system is to continue playing the game. So what he's suggesting, in place of a goal, we have to build a system, because we never rise to the level of our goals. We always fall to the level of the system, and that's the reason he's trying to bring this point very impactfully. And he's saying that the purpose of setting goal is to win the game, whereas the purpose of building the system is to continue playing the game. And in the long term thinking is always a goal-less thinking. Okay, so that's the answer he has given, that if you would like to build the habits, goals are definitely giving you direction. Nobody is declining the importance of a goal, but he says that rather than focusing on the goals, only goals, focus on the system. Okay. And now we are going to see how the system is, or how our habits are going to shape our identity. Now, here he has given a analogy of a onion intersection, where he says that when we work on a goal-based behavioral changes in us, we try to focus what we get, and what we do for that is we try to change the results we are getting. And this behavioral change is the shallowest among the three levels, and it doesn't last longer. Now, the much more lasting and much more dense change is the process related change. It is like I would like to wake up at 5 a.m. So I need to set up a system where I can have my dinner by 7:30 and I can go to sleep around 9, and then only it is possible on the long term basis to wake up at 5 a.m. So doing such kind of a changes in a life is a process based, it's a routine based change. It changes your habits and the system. Now he says that the third and the deepest level of the change which we can think about is the identity change. The moment what you believe changes, it's going to be a lifetime changes. We have seen, so many meat eaters become vegetarian over the period of time. They only become vegetarian only after they change their beliefs. And now he has given the example like why we find it very difficult to change our habits is because we try to change the wrong things. And when we say we are trying to change a wrong thing, is this the direction of a change is wrong. What we try to do is we try to change it in this way: one, two, and three. We first focus on the outcome, and then we try to change the processes and all. Whereas he says that the moment the change is driven by the identity, and if we start from here and upwards, then basically this change will be the long term change which will help us form the lifetime habits. And here he has given an example of if there are two people who are trying to quit smoking, if the person who's outcome based has been asked with, how are you going to, change the like hey, would you like to smoke? And his response will be, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. And whereas the person who is working in this direction will say that, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. So he do not identify himself as a smoker any further. He's saying smoking was my former life, now I have given up on that, and I'm no longer a smoker. Whereas this person identifies himself still as a smoker, and he's just trying to change the outcome. And we all know that who will be prone to again get back into the loop of smoking, and who will be successfully out of that loop. So he says that the long term habits, the real identities which we would like to build, those has to be the starting point has to be the change the identity and change everything around it to make the lasting changes. Okay, now he again warns us the habits are double-edged sword. So he says that when you are building a identity, always build a positive identity. Like rather than saying I'm reading this particular book, say that I'm a reader. Rather than seeing that, hey, it's very difficult to wake up in the morning, say that I'm a morning person, and then that change will become a possibility in your life. Rather than saying, hey, I am trying to learn this so and so instrument, say I'm a musician, because that's an identity you will be building. Maybe it's just one instrument which you know to how to play. At the same time, building this identity helps you a lot. And it says that the people consciously and unconsciously on a daily basis are also building the negative identities. And he has given the example, I'm not a morning person. It's a very common dialogue we hear, and that becomes your identity over the period of time when you keep repeating that to yourself. I'm bad with directions. Say it 10, 20 times, and you will be definitely bad with directions for rest of your life. I'm always late. This is again an identity crisis problem. Most of us face it. I'm not good with technology. I'm bad at remembering names of people I met. So he wants us that do not build this kind of identities. Build the identities which are, which are going to shape your future, shape your own image. And he says that identity, let's deep dive into identity, what identity is. And he says that identity is nothing but a repeated beingness. This word is coming from a Latin dictionary, and there is only a two-step model to uh, have the new identity built. So decide the type of person you want to be, and always answer this question: what would that type of person will do in a given situation? You would like to be the great leader, like some of the leaders' name, maybe Nelson Mandela. Then think of what Nelson Mandela would do in particular leadership crisis situation, and try to act like him, and that will take you over there. And second thing is, do it repeatedly, prove it to yourself with a small wins. Okay. And he says that for building an identity, focus should be always on becoming that type of a person and not getting a particular outcome. And he says that identity is not a one time job, it is bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit. We are continually undergoing the micro evolutions of the self. Identity needs evidences and trusting your self image. So that's the fundamental section where he focuses on the habits has to be identity driven. That's the biggest message of this particular section from this book. Now, as we enter the fourth section of book, he tries to correlate cognitively what happens in our brain, because brain and the habits are closely related. So if we'll take the example of a cycling, we try to cycle for the first time, we fall multiple times, we fail, we learn, we relearn, we try differently, we try to apply the brake just in time, we try to balance it, we try various things. And over the period of time, the cycling logic fix in our brain. And then even if you don't cycle for next 10 years, the next time you see a cycle, you will not never forget the riding. So what has happened as the habits are created, the level of activity in the brain decreases. Mental rule is created. Habits are the mental shortcuts, nothing but the mental shortcut. So he has given us the framework where he says that your phone buzzes with a new text message. What you would do? You want to learn the content of the message, that is craving. You grab your phone and read the text, that is your response. And you satisfy your craving to read the message. Grabbing your phone becomes associated with your phone buzzing. This is nothing but the reward stored in your system. So we are working on these four things, and this is the science how the habit works. So Q is the trigger your brain to trigger cue triggers your brain to initiate the behavior. Craving, the motivational force or a desire to act. Response is the actual habit or the action taken, and reward is the benefit or the outcome that satisfies the craving. So out of these four things, why not to create four laws which can help us both ways to build a good habits and to get rid of the bad habits. So now he's giving us the street for a framework, and it's very, very simple. You can see it's written over here. Uh, if you would like to create a good habit, make the cue obvious. If you would like to get rid of the bad habit, make the cue invisible. You would like to leave smoking, make the cigarettes invisible. And if you would like to drink 3 liters of water, keep the water at the most prominent place where we would look into, and you will be continuously drinking the water. So it's the same thing he's trying to say. He's saying make it attractive, and versus if you would like to get rid of the bad habit, make it unattractive. A similar thing like if you would like to response, the responsibility is easy. Uh, like make it easy in the brain. Like okay, the person who don't know riding Royal Enfield never goes and attempts it. And if it is easy, if it is stored in your brain, you will go for it. So make it easy. The things you would like to build the habits for, make the response for those small things very easy. And then for the inversion, you can make it difficult. And The fourth law is make it satisfying, and he says that here make it unsatisfying. So now the questions will be how can I? And it is the same laws. So now let's deep dive into the each single laws and see how we can make the tiny changes to actually build the real life transforming identities which will be long term habits for us. All right, so let's first look into the first law of the behavioral change, which is make it obvious. Okay, so he says that he has given a very beautiful example of awareness is the first step. He has given an example from a military where he says that even if the enemy comes dressed up in our uniform, our people always know that who is my troop and they identify the enemy very easily. While looking at the battlefield, we will be baffled like how they are identifying who's the enemy and who's the their colleague, but they do it very discreetly. And how it is working, it's a brain, it has calculated everything. Okay, if he's my colleague, how he's going to act, how he's going to be. So the brain is always, it's very, very sharp thing. And awareness is the first step. And he says that to get that awareness, what we can do is we can take help of a habit scorecard. And how we are going to take the help of a habit scorecard, he says that take out the time and list down what are your habits, and maybe not to overwhelm yourself. What you can do is just take the first 3 hours routine after you wake up, and then just try to mark them into a three sections. What are the neutral habits, what are the negative habits, and what are the positive habits? You might be getting late every single day and you would like to change that identity. If it is because of checking the phone early in the morning, if that is something which is impacting you, you might have to mark this as a negative. And once you have built an awareness, it is going to be easier thing for you to set and achieve this kind of thing. So he says that the awareness is the first step. Second thing, he says that use implementation intentions. He says that motivation is overrated, and he has provided a case study where the three groups. First group was given an exercise, and they had been asked to track like how they are doing with that exercise. With today I have done it, tomorrow I have done it, and the next group has been given a similar kind of exercise to be done with the motivational videos. And the third group has given an assignment with a motivational video, the exercise to be done. And with that, they had asked them to do that. Okay, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of a rigorous exercise, whatever it is, yoga or Zumba, on particular day, at particular time, in particular place. And they had been asked to write this before even starting to. And by setting this implementation, you will be surprised to know the results. The group one who don't even have the motivational video, 38% people stick to what has been asked. And uh, the group with the motivation perform the worst. Motivation is underrated. People always seek motivation. Motivation never plays any role in the life. And here is the third group who has actually set those implementation intentions by saying by tomorrow at morning 8 for 20 minutes I will be doing a rigorous running at so and so place. It makes it happen. And that's what he has tried to prove with this graph. And he says that use this formula. I will, now the behavior is a meditation at a particular time, like, or for the time, like he doesn't even suggest anything bigger. So he says that I will meditate for 2 minutes at 7 a.m. in my living room, and that's what is going to change everything. So use that implementation intention, write those intentions, and you will be more likely to build that cue into your system. Now he says that leverage habit stacking. After your current habit, try to stack a new habit. Like after I brush my teeth, I will floss. If you're not into the habit of flossing, he suggests that like uh this is just an example. You can stack anything you would like to. Like after I take a bath, I will drink 2 glasses of water. If you're drinking less water, and whenever I will get a hunger signal. Now this is very you know ambiguity filled sentence. So he says that always have particular that's the reason he's saying have the current habit, and after that, try to have the new habit. And that's the example of habit stacking. Now, he says that design your environment for a success. And this is an extremely important point. Like, he says that keep the book visible on a coffee table instead of tucked away, and you will be getting, the you will read that book more frequently. Then place the book on a pillow to see it before bed. If you would like to read couple of pages before you fall asleep, then do this. Then keep the water bottle on your desk. Keep the large bottle if you would not like to refill it more often. And if you would like to stop watching TV, unplug the TV and all these examples. So he says that design your environment for the success. Okay. Now, he has given one very, very intriguing example of, you know, this is a very interesting graph he has presented. He said that these all 11 countries are in the UK, and if you'll see the percentage of a organ donor in these purple countries, it is over and above 85%, and in these green countries it is less than, even less than 5% at some places. Now why is that? He says that environment plays a very key role. What has changed in these 11 countries? Is it the mindset of the people different? Is it their what has been impacted? And it's a very simple, you might not even thought about it. These countries which are shown in a purple gives the opt-out form. They ask them, like, you are an organ donor already. If you are a part of, you are a citizen of these countries. If you would like to uh, opt out, you can fill the form. Whereas these are saying you are not an organ donor. If you like to donate organ, please come and fill the form. Now you can see that this is a percentage of the people who have came for filling the form for specifically donating organ, and these are the percentage of people who haven't opted, and that's why they are the organ donors. So he says that set your environment just by designing a form in a way they have got this much of a organ donation rate in the country. So that's how the environment impacts us, and that's what he's trying to convince us through this example. Now then he says that use context as a cue. Now there are various contexts. One of the contexts is time. Okay, at 4 p.m. I go with my colleagues for a tea break. That is a time as in context we are using. Okay. Now, the other contexts are like location. At particular location, I go for a smoke. So location becomes a context. The moment you see that location, you will feel like, okay, I would like to smoke. And he has given the very classy examples in the book if you would like to read. Now, he says that how to use, like how he uses that time-based cues can also be used to stick with the routines over and over again. uh, every Monday and Thursday, I write a new article and post on a jamesclear.com. That's where he's using time as a cue. Now, location is another. Like when I arrive at the gym, I head to a same spot each day to get ready, change into the lifting gears, and starting the warm up. So here the location is playing as a big cue. Now, the preceding event is also a cue. The moment you see the staircase is empty, you take stairs in place of a lift, and lift is crowded. So the preceding event also, like for over 2 years I have used preceding event to stick with a daily gratitude habit. Each night when I sit down for eating dinner, I say one thing I was grateful for that day. And it is like before dinner I'm going to express a gratitude. So it's kind of a smaller the habit, the easier to build it. You just have to say one thing. We are not asking to change 10 things you are grateful for, and then it becomes a very difficult thing. Then he says the emotional state. Okay. uh, he says that how emotional state is also like, uh, you would like to get yes from a client. You already knows that, okay, somebody is happy, get a three yes, and the fourth time the person is going to say yes. It's kind of an example of emotional state. He says that I'm trying to get better with noticing when I'm holding a tension in my body and experiencing stress. So he tries to breathe deeply when there is a tension, when he's feeling stress, and he tries to calm down himself. So using emotional state of yourself as a cue. And then he says that the other people are also a cue. Like, if you are surrounded by the people who never discusses finance and thinks that finance discussions are not good for the, at least, and if you are in such groups, you will never be comfortable in doing that. So other people, your environment, your groups, if you're talking about, politics and the negative things or the gossiping, you tend to become like that. So he says that, I am not a heavy drinker, but nearly every time I go out with the friends, uh, I get a drink. Why is that? If I'm not yearning for a beer, why I get one? It's simply a response to the environment that I am in and the people I am around. So we do the things when certain people are around us. We try to take the cue from an environment. So he says that, you can make the use of your context in your favor. Your habits are often tied to a specific context or the environments, and try to get the maximum out of this context to work in your favor. Now, he says that focus on identity based habit, which we have covered in depth in the previous sections also. Frame your habits around the person you want to become and not just the outcome you desire. And he has already given the identity based habits. The best example, I guess, is British Cycling Club also. At being the good at remembering the people name, or decisive type of person you would like to be, and prove it to yourself with a. Okay, so these are a couple of the examples. Like, to become a better writer, become the type of person who writes 1,000 words every single day, and that will set you to become a writer. All right, so that's the focus on identity based habit. This is a cheat sheet I will provide you in the PDF format. This is going to talk about like how you can use the first law, fill out the habit scorecard, use implementation intention, use habit stacking, and design your environment. That's the cheat sheet for the first law. Okay, now let's start looking into the second law of a behavioral change, where he says that we have to make the change or the craving. Craving is the biggest part, and he says that make it attractive. Okay, the role of a craving in a habit is, people do not crave cigarettes, they crave the relaxation and the stress relief that cigarette offers. Second thing is, people do not crave the notifications, they crave the social connection and the stimulation. Seeing message or giving likes gives us a dopamine hit, and there is a huge role of a dopamine when it comes to craving. And Simon Sinek fans, they know about dopamine a lot. So habits release dopamine not just when you achieve the reward, but also in anticipation of it. So he's trying to say that it's not only when you are doing those things that time you are going to get that dopamine release, only the anticipation. For me, the maximum dopamine gets released when I book my flights. The anticipation of the fact that I'm going to travel, uh, you know, uh, gives me a lot of surge in dopamine. And that's what he is trying to say, that it's not just the event, it's the anticipation of that event in the brain which releases the lot of dopamine. And he says that because it is working in this way, use the temptation bundling. And what is a temptation bundling? That you have particular habit, and you try to bundle three things together. After my current habit, I will do what I need to do. And once I will do what I need to do, I get what I want to do. Like, If I come back from office and I straight away go to a couch and watch Netflix for 1.5 hour, I'll try to bundle it in a way like after I go to work, I change into my workout clothes. I go to my society gym for 40 minutes of an exercise. The moment I finish the exercise, I reward myself with a 30 minutes favorite show, one episode. And that's how you make it stay for a longer time. The moment you make it as your routine, you are going to make the best use of that particular temptation bundling. You're getting that dopamine hit by watching that serial. You are doing what you need to do, and you are also making the best use of habit stacking, which we have already learned. Now he says that leverage the power of a social influence. Join the culture where your desired behavior is a normal. Imitate successful people, and habit spreads through a social network. Is given a very this example will stay with everyone. Everyone learns smoking in the college years, and it happens because of the social circle you have. It starts with let's try once, and then it becomes the habit, and then it becomes that kick related thing. So he says that students start smoking because of the college friends, and habits spread through a social network. So choosing your social networks wisely, your communities wisely, is something which we need to think about. Next thing he says about is reframe your mindset. Focus on the benefits and the positive aspects of the habit. Instead of thinking, I have to exercise, I have to go to gym, say that I get to improve my health and energy. So change that I have to with I get to. And that's the maximum important thing because your mindset is everything. Now he says that reduce negative associations. Okay, if the habit feels like a very big task, you're less likely to stick with it. So, reduce that friction, reduce the negative association, make the process enjoyable. If you like to listen to podcast, go to a gym, place that podcast, and then you are running on the machine. Then what will happen with you is like, okay, I you first start that podcast, and while listening to that podcast, you are also exercising. And that's how, like, before starting an exercise, maybe I'm giving a wrong example, this might end up in the the mishaps. What you can do is set up your favorite music, put it in the ears, and then you can set yourself with the exercise routine. So that's what he's trying to see, make the habit attractive. For me, how I make it attractive, yes, I try to go to the various locations. I try to find the various trek locations, and then I don't feel like I'm doing any exercise. It's just like exploring a nature, and the exercise is taken care naturally. It's no more a core for me. It's no more a big deal for me. And he says that create a motivational ritual, develop a routine that gets you in the mood for the habit. Example, energetic music before a workout, like set something like a ritual that whenever I receive a call, I'm going to walk so that I can complete my 10,000 steps, something like that, the which will get you into the habit of setting the good routines for yourself. Now, the similar thing, the cheat sheet is here. How to make it unattractive is the inversion of a law, and to make the craving unattractive, he says that reframe your mindset, highlight the benefits of avoiding your bad habits. If you're trying to leave the smoking, highlight how your lungs are being impacted, and if you will leave smoking, how your lungs will be thanking you. Once you will start highlighting that, you will get benefited by it. Okay. Now the third law, and my most favorite law, it also has a lot of bulb on movements. So let's quickly look into what is the third law of a behavioral change, which is make it easy. He says that the repetition is much more important. He has given a very interesting example of a photography class where the teacher who runs a photography class for 6 month duration has given an assignment to half of student to submit 100 photographs, and to another group to focus only on a quality and submit only one best quality photograph. And when they have examined The result, the students who submitted 100 photographs have done better because quantity matters on the quality, is the message. Like when they knew that they have to, click the multiple photographs, they always experimented with their cameras with the various settings, and they went on to become big and went on to become the explorer, and their clicks were phenomenal. Whereas the person who was thinking about the quality click was always just thinking about, okay, I will do this setting, I will find this perfect moment, and their photographs didn't turn out to be that great. So he says that focus on a reputation, not on a perfection. Perfection, we are not looking for it. We just have to repeat. Habits are formed through a repetition, not by doing them perfectly. Now, he says that how we can apply this in our life. You know, don't wait for perfect conditions. Just start. Even first draft is better than nothing. Just like I wanted to start this book club, rather than thinking about which all 10 books I can read and which will be the impactful one. Just get started. Just get started and show up, and the rest of the things will fall in place. The second thing is the 2 minutes rule. This is very important, and I guess this is the biggest lesson I have taken from this book. He says that reduce the habit to something that can be done in a 2 minutes or less. And now you will ask, how is it possible? I would like to exercise for 20 minutes, and you are saying do it in 2 minutes. How is that? And then he says that I will run 5 miles. To start with, I will put on the shoes, running shoes, and will hit the ground. And how much time is it going to do that if you're hitting the ground just, near to your building? It's just a 2 minute thing. If it is not, then make your first habit as booking the cab to the location where you find that environment of exercising. You just have to be in that environment, and the rest of the things will be taken care by that environment. And it says that this is why it is work. It helps you overcome the procrastination, builds the consistency, and leads to the bigger habit. Once you start, momentum makes it easy to continue. So you always start that. Don't make the very difficult and very big goals. Try to have the very small habits built. Just build a habit to wear the shoes and hit that ground. And eventually you will build the ability, build the identity of a runner, or whichever identity rather you would like to build. Now he says that reduce the friction. Uh, he says that eliminate the obstacle that makes it harder to start your habit, like having a gym 5 kilometers away from a house is a friction. Rather than that, start with a easy and achievable option which is near. Maybe I have a swimming pool nearby. Let me start doing that as a part of my exercise routine, or let me join the gym which is near to my house. Maybe it's not that great, but I will be consistent when it is near to my house. And he says that when it comes to a bad habit, also revert this. How we will revert this? So he says that increase the friction for the bad habits. Now, he gives the example. If you would like to reduce the social media use, log out of the apps after every usage. Okay, watch less TV, make the closet for the TV, and unplug your TV. Keep your remote in the drawer. Okay, late night snacking. Put the snacks on the highest shelf where your hands cannot easily reach. Want to avoid online shopping? Remove the credit card information or the stored information at the checkout page. When you have to re-enter all this information, you always give it a thought, do I really need it? And that's what he's saying. Now he's saying prime your environment. Now, if you would like to really learn a new instrument, keep that instrument ready in your living room. The chances of you practicing the instrument increases once you prime the environment. So it's just an example. You can use it to your benefit as and when it. Then he says use automation. Like if you would like to build a habit of saving, set those monthly SIPs and then make it possible that your banks will have a sufficient funds so that those SIP will be activated. SIP will go through, and that's kind of automating your habits of saving. Or set those SIPs for the first week where your bank account will have that money, and First, the money will go towards saving and then towards spending. So he's saying use automation, master the art of showing up. This is a very important thing. And again, a bulb on moment. He has given the example of a person who never wanted to, like, he lost number of pounds just by doing this simple habit. He used to hit the gym and used to be there for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, doing one exercise, saying hi to everyone, and returning home. By that, he has built the identity of a gym goer, and eventually, by improving, by the continuous improvement, which we also talk in the lean and all. So, applying all those principles, he eventually become the weightlifter, bodybuilder, and he lost the number of pounds he intended to do that. He says that break down the big habits we have already discussed. If the habit looks complicated, divide the complex habits into the smaller, manageable steps. If you want to write a book, start with the writing a single sentence each day. Then move on to the next level of writing a paragraph per day, then move on to the level to write a page, then posting an article, posting a chapter, and then think about that 10, 20 such chapters can make your small book together. And that's the way he is saying that break down your habits, optimize for your convenience. Okay. The easier a habit is to perform, the more likely you are going to do it. Okay. If you would like to eat healthy, put those healthy stuff at the eye level in the fridge. Plus, cut all those veggies and put it in the nice airtight containers ready. So you are in a mood for healthy cooking. Just bring them out and toss them together to make those salads and all in the less time, and you are in for the healthy changes in the life. Then he says that inverse the third law to break the bad habits, make it difficult. Unhealthy snacks, junk, remove all the apps, keep the junk out of your sight, throw the snacks out of your home entirely. That's what the third law of a behavior change is talking about. And these are the cheat sheets I will share with you. Now, let's move into the fourth law, which is like make it satisfying. He says that for our brain needs a lot of cues. Now, if you will use the habit tracker is simple thing. It just looks like this. And if you will put this small 2 minutes, 10 habits and try to track them. Okay, today I crossed it. Today I crossed it. I did it. I did it. I did it. Your brain likes it, and you will be more likely to perform all those habits and doing all those things. Celebrate your small wins. Okay, even if you are meditating for a minute or two, tell yourself, great job, I'm taking care of my own mind. Acknowledge and reward yourself for completing your habits, no matter how small they are to achieve. Now he says that make bad habits unsatisfying. Inverse the fourth law. Introduce the accountability. Okay, you would like to go for a run, but who will wake up at 4 a.m.? Announce that on a social media. Hey, this is my bib. I'm going for a run tomorrow. And now that social pressure, you will 10 times think, oh my God, everybody will ask about it. So let me wake up and go for that run. So make the bad habits unsatisfying by having a accountability partner. He also says that if I will eat junk, I will transfer 500 to my friend. That can be one of the way to set the accountability. If anyone is in for that kind of a challenge, I'm your friend. Apart from that, he says that if you skip the workout, you will feel the social pressure, and you can do a similar law. Like if you are not going to a gym, pay your friend or your trainer a penalty for doing not doing that, and that puts you into that habit loop very well. Leverage the power of identity. He cannot stress enough about this point. Like if you want to become healthier, remind yourself every time I eat a nutritious meal, I'm living like a healthy person. And that's like sugar loaded drinks being ordered at the hotel, and you are making a choice of ordering a chas. You are telling yourself, I want to become healthier, and every time I drink this chas, I am living a life of a healthy person. That's what he's saying by leveraging the power of identity. Create immediate gratification for a long term goal. The problem with a long term goal is the immediate gratification is much more needed. You have to reward yourself with a relaxing activity after completing a study session. So, long term habits often lack this immediate reward system. So, if you have ran some 5,000 steps, maybe around 4 or 5 kilometers, treat yourself with some nice protein smoothie and pat on your back. And that's a small reward you can give it to. Always pay attention to it. You are not negating the benefit of the habit or benefit of the action you are performing. It's not advisable that, okay, I have done a workout in the gym, so I will eat biryani today. If you keep repeating, you keep negating the positive impacts of the good habit building. Now, he says that don't break the chain rule, like anything for uncertain circumstances. You was you were doing the great yoga routine. At one day you couldn't follow it. Next day try to attend it. Two breaks in a row, not allowed. Not allowed. That will break your habit. So whenever you miss it for the first time, next day make an attempt to show up and try to get into that loop as soon as possible. And he says that it's extremely important to design your reward system. Visualize how saving money today is going to help you. After sticking to your habits for a month, treat yourself with something meaningful. Like if you have ran consistently for a month, treat yourself with a Nike shoe or something like that. Plan rewards for reaching particular milestones in your habit, which makes your life real interesting. Focus on a long term satisfaction. Uh, we often heard people saying, who has got benefited by saving the money? It's today, live in the moment. At once you convince yourself that saving money today is going to help me achieve the financial freedom, then the long term satisfaction comes into the picture, and then you start working on this or rules. And this is again you know the cheat sheet, which as I promised will be sharing with you, and you can look at it at length. Now he talks about some advanced tactics. He says that Goldilocks rule of staying in a optimal zone. He says that don't set the goal too low, or don't set the goal to go to Everest in the first attempt. Set the goal to go to somewhere like Kedarkantha or some trek which will challenge you optimally, and after achieving that go to a next level of a trek and something like that. He says that identity based habits internalize the change. Okay. Then he says that measure the progress, but avoid the measurement trap. Do not just go behind that measurement trap. See what changes have been really taking place in your life. He says that master the art of a continuous refinement, which is very much important to progress. And he emphasizes on that and never miss twice. This is an also another important rule if you would really like to go from being merely good to being truly great. So these are the tips. Now let me show you the habit cheat sheet of complete sheet. This has got first law, second law, third law, and the fourth law. And also it has the inversion of all the four laws. So this is going to be the sheet I will be sharing with you all uh, after this session. And this is the simple habit tracker that also we have already discussed, which can help you track your habits as a part of your rewarding system. So that's about the Atomic Habits book in a nutshell. There are a lot of examples given. I tried to cover the key examples. I highly recommend you to read this book, and with this, understanding of this book, it will work as a primer, and now you will be able to concept or accept the principles from the book very well. Do give it a listen as many times as you would like to, because this is universal knowledge which is going to help you in what you would like to achieve. Uh, I think James Clear himself has proven a very huge success story. He didn't just become an athlete or the book writer. What he did going forward is he has invented the Habits Academy, and he became also one of the top trainer in USA as well as UK. So, sky is a limit once we get into that positive spiral. And similar goes like if we are into that negative spiral, we go on the negative direction, compounding the negative habits. So, I wish you all the luck, and I hope I created an impact by delivering this session. I have an extreme gratitude for continuing the energy, showing that enthusiasm. Yes, I can see a lot of notes have been taken. Please share them with me, and I will look forward to reward the note-taking skills, and will look forward to see you guys again for the another life transforming book reading session. So thanks a lot, everyone, from the heart. Lots of gratitude for giving it a listen, and would like to see you again. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day ahead.